Now that is what you call a real supercar. You see, supercars reside on a whole new level of cool. They're wicked fast. They look amazing, just like me. And everyone dreams of owning a supercar one day. But this unfortunate list of 5 supercars and an honorable mention are bound to leave you disappointed. And the biggest thing you're gonna learn today is that looks just aren't everything. So, are you ready for the most controversial list of the century? Because I'm definitely not. Let's go! At a quick glance, you may think this car looks oddly familiar. And that's because it was built off one of the most influential 90s supercars. And I'll let you guys take a guess first. Was it the Lamborghini Diablo or the Ferrari F50? Go vote for the devil or the F50. Introduced in 1996, the Vector M12 definitely raised some heads. And yes, the exact heads you're thinking about, you kinky. Using a lengthened and bougyified Lamborghini Diablo chassis, this car was engineered for success and achieved, well, the exact opposite actually. When it was first introduced, the M12 was priced at $189,000. Cause it's a supercar! It's got the horsepower of a supercar. And while it was a fair supercar price, and checked all the right supercar boxes, I'm a supercar, it just never caught on with the public. Only 18 units, yeah, 18 units were ever produced, and 4 of those were a prototype. Its V12 engine also came out of the Lamborghini Diablo, pushing out 500 horsepower to make the dash to 60 miles an hour in just 4.4 seconds. And that was really, really fast for its time in the mid-90s. It definitely had the performance to back it up. So why did it fail so miserably? Well, how much time do you got? That's partially thanks to its very, let's call it, overdone appearance. Now, I could have used some mean words there, but I think we gotta keep this thing professional, don't you think? It's a fucking supercar, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's a shithole. It's like a supercar with a V8, but like a hybrid and like a V12, what was it, a W12? I don't even know, it's a fucking supercar. Basically, critics went to town obliterating this car, kind of like the comment sections in some of my videos. Mostly about my hair, boys. While fans, you know who you are, fans, countered by saying that this is what supercars were meant to be, loud and flashy. But overall, the public just didn't like it. And due to financial reasons, lack of sales, and poor management, the company went ending production of the Vector M12. Oh, and you can't miss the fact that the fiberglass body looked pretty damn cheap. If you ever wanted a car that has near F1 capabilities and will give you plenty of near-death experiences for days to come, then the Caparo T1 is the car for you. This bugger from hell weighs in at just 1,000 pounds with upwards of 550 horsepower. So with the highest power to weight ratio of practically any car, 0 to 60 naturally comes in at 2.5 seconds. Double that time and you're sitting at 100 miles per hour. While this car looks like it's all sunshine and rainbows, especially with that orgasmic 10,500 RPM redline, its $400,000 price tag is definitely not, nor is its unique flame-throwing ability. And no, I don't mean exhaust backfires. I mean that it likes to catch fire at over 150 miles per hour. Fortunately, the driver made it out alive, but not before suffering burns on his hands and neck. And on top of this, these cars aren't necessarily the most reliable, breaking down left and right. I'm no professional, as you guys know, but my gut is kind of telling me that you guys should stay away from this car. Inspired by the Honda NSX, the Mitsuoka Orochi was just one of those Japanese cars that brought up the universal question, why? While this car did look like it was gonna be kicking some booty, all it managed to do was get its own booty kicked. Sitting under the hood is, wait for it, a 3.3-liter Camry V6. Their decision for this car was to put efficiency before any crazy performance. So they went ahead and one-upped the engine by mating it to a Toyota 5-speed automatic. It looks like a supercar, but it doesn't have the horsepower of a supercar. So, as you would expect, the Orochi only had 240 horsepower and weighed in at a blubbery 3,400 pounds, making it basically a Camry with a whack-ass body kit. I will give them props though, because the Camry made it on the list of the used cars that you should buy. And for good reason, so you should go check that out. So basically, it's slow as fuh, looks funky as fuh, and costs around $90,000. So if this thing will make you holla, go for it. It's definitely unique. I'll give them that. Many of you probably hung this car on your bedroom wall. And I'm pretty sorry. Well, I'm sorry. I'm sorry to say that the Ferrari Testarossa made this list of the worst supercars ever made. Feel free to roast me down below. But before you do, hear me out. When talking about the looks, yeah, I'm with you. That aggressive, edgy, and modern sleek look will get everyone's panties wet, including mine. And there is no denying that this is one of the most beautiful cars that was ever birthed during the 80s. But as I've been told many, many times before, looks aren't everything. Wait, did I just insult myself? Most of the people that I know that own these cars claim that they're only really usable for light driving and are actually pretty hard to stomach as a supercar. This is mainly due to the fact that Ferrari mounted its flat 12 above the transmission and differential, resulting in a way higher center of gravity, making this car quite a handful at higher speeds, which is why you've probably never seen anybody seriously race one of these things. Oh, and let's not forget about the catalytic converters that just love to blow, or the fact that it loves to ingest its oil filters either. I mean, you do you, boo, because that's supercar power. But this car has some serious drawbacks, which is why it's on the list. Now, before we get to the last and most controversial car on this list, here is the honorable mention! The star of Back to the Future. The DeLorean DMC12 fulfilled all of our dreams through the big screen. But kinda like the Kardashians, it's all fake. Well, yes, the DeLorean is definitely a looker. It just, unfortunately, lacks the performance side of things, creeping to 60 miles an hour in 10 seconds. Or about as long as I last in bed. It stays neck and neck with a fucking Prius, which being the most hated left lane camper in America is really saying something. But at least with the DeLorean, you get to cruise around with at least a little more swag. Ah, yes, finally. Last on this list, we have the Lamborghini Countach. No matter how good this car looks, no matter how many necks it snaps, it's hard to ignore how laughably bad it is. To start things off, the Countach takes the word blind spot to a whole new level. You can't see shit out of it. So in order to back that ass up, you have to raise the door and sit on the door jamb to see where the fuck you're going. You can't open the engine bay if the trunk's open, and the frunk, which holds the battery, isn't even weather sealed. But nonetheless, this car practically came from the heavens, where emissions, safety, and fuel economy just didn't exist. So yes, while this car is probably the most uncomfortable thing you've ever sat in, holy it's gosh darn beautiful. Kind of like these top 5 cheapest supercars you can buy, or check out what YouTube recommends you watch next. Oh, and if you haven't yet, please subscribe, but either way, you can't lose, and as always, keep living that ideal lifestyle. Because why? It's a supercar! Supercar! But I'm a supercar!